Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So coming back for the last time with the cute Christmas collection, and this is the Feline Festive. And you've got these on this one. You've just got the two big toppers, you've got a couple of tags and a couple of borders. You've got the matching inserts there. But what they have given you is obviously the printed image there, and also a printed image on the foiled one as well, as long as this beautiful swirl detail on there. So that's what we're going to be playing with today. So let's just pop that out of the way for a second. And what I thought I would do first off is do like a little stepper card. Sorry, there's a little bit of glue, a little bit of peel off on my desk there. And I'm just going to do the one-sided one. So it's the same as the centre step that I put up the other day. But we're just going to do the cut on one side rather than both. Okay, so I'm going to move that over to the 1 inch. And I'm going to pop that down, and I'm going to cut from 1 to 7. And then we can move that out of the way for a second and bring in the scoreboard. And I'm going to score at 1 up to the line, at 2 up to the line, and 7 up to the line. And then I'm just going to flip that over and then do the 6 inch up to the line. Okay, then just a case of just easing this one into shape. And I want the step to be on the right hand side, so you can have it either way, and it's just a question of just easing those folds in. And once you get it sort of moving, you will be able to just bring in a crease. Porcelain, this is a porcelain one, just to reinforce those creases. You can just use your normal score tool if you prefer. Now I've just noticed that's just gone off a little bit, so let me just put that back and recrease that down. That should straighten up, and same with that one. Just going to make them nice and straight, and then come underneath and do that one as well. Okay, so when it stands, what you're going to have is that. So you've just got this one step going down, and you've got your 5 inches there to play with. So the foiling on this one is gold. So I'm going to bring in a gold mat. And I'm going to bring in the trimmer. So just so I can get all of the mats out of one piece, I'm going to do this piece here as a 1x6 mat. So I'm going to take 2 notches off that. So it's 2 notches under the 1, and then 2 notches under the 6, like so, and then that will fit on there quite nicely. And then if I rotate this around, this will be a 1x5. So again, I'm going to take 2 notches off that. And then if I turn that round and just do 2 notches under the 5, and that one will fit into there quite nicely. And then what we're left with is a 5x5. So I'm going to take 2 notches off that as well. And this, if I cut it that way, then I get everything out of one of these 6x6 mini mats. So those are my 3 mats. So coming in with this piece first of all, so I am going to be cutting around the cat because I want him on there. So I'm going to start by cutting this at 4 3/4. And I'm going to cut that all the way down, and then I'll turn this around and do a 3/4, and this will be by the 5, so it's going to be 4 3/4. Actually, I think I'm just going to keep it on the blue. So that will go on to there. And I'm not sure yet about the piece along the bottom. I might, let's get it ready, because I'm going to do this piece of green here. So I'm still going to use the rest of this sheet. It is automatically going to be too long for a 6x6 card anyway. So if I take that at 3/4 of an inch and I cut that at 5 3/4, that will fit onto there. If I decide to use it, I probably will put one of the borders on it anyway. Okay, so let's take this piece here and we are going to cut around this cat, and I'm not going to sort of cut every sort of wispy line out, because it is quite a blurry furry image of this cat. So just going to go around that. I think when you're cutting things out, you always feel like you've got to go, you know, to all of the nth detail with all of the little bits. But once you've cut it, hens, nobody knows whether it was supposed to be there or not unless they've got the kit themselves. So I'm just easing that out because it still seems to be stuck somewhere. Just going to use it around and then down. And I'm a little bit late doing my video today because I was actually watching the tennis, and I don't usually watch a lot of the tennis. Well, I tell a lie, I used to. A couple of years ago, I used to really watch it, you know, be quite into it, but I haven't watched it for a number of years. And then I just had it, it was on in the background. I think Donna put it on when I'd gone off to do something, and it was the British girls playing. So I'm just doing a basic sort of shape for this cat here. So then I sort of got into watching them, and then the following day I think there was it went on, and it was the same girl who had been one of the British girls again. It was one of the other ones. And then after that finished, it was this, oh, he's not new, but new to me, fella Spanish guy, Alcaraz. And he was very interesting to watch. It was very interesting to watch play. So it was, my sister came round today, my other sister. I'm just going to have to straighten my hands out, sorry. My other sister came round today, and so I just put that on in the background because obviously she likes to talk, and I don't know how much she gets to talk about Anthony and everybody at home, because I think a lot of the time, you know, she is on her own or looking after small children. So I put that on in the background anyway, and then it was the girls' match with the New Zealand little girl, I say little, woman, and she was beaten, and then they sort of announced that this Carlos was coming back on to the next one, so I ended up watching that. Right, really starting to feel it in my hand now. Right, come on now, Mr. Pussycat. Right, so we've got our cat here. And I'm hoping what I can do is piece him on top and nobody's going to know that's ever been cut out. But what I want to do first of all, and I'm just going to bring this in because it's the first thing to my hand. It's just got a rounded ball tip. If you've got any sort of ball tools, it's usually what I use. Just going to go around all of these edges and it should just soften them a little bit, make them look less sharply cut. Okay, so here we have our little pussycat with his present. He's got a bow on. I thought it was a bow on the present at first, but it's not. But let's go back to this piece. So we know that needs to be 5 by 5. So by the time we put our cat back on, nobody is going to know that half of, well, some of this bottom piece is not there. This little piece here, because he's going to be on top and covering that up. I think I'm going to take, let's try taking 1/4 of an inch. So I don't want to come down too low that that all gets revealed. Take a little bit. So let's take, so that was 1/2 an inch I took. So I'm just going to take another 1/4. There we go, yeah, I think that sits better. We've got some nice little borders left over for another time. Right, okay, so now we can start to assemble. So let's bring in our pieces. So the glues I'm using, normal ones, I'm going to be using the Kalau All-Purpose, which is the clear glue, alcohol base, pretty much the same as the Hunkydory construction glue. And then I've got the Kalau tacky glue in this one, which is like a PVA glue. So I think we'll start with this piece first of all. So I just generally put a little bit of the all-purpose and then a little bit of tacky in the corners. And I do say it quite a lot, but it does two things for me. So number one, I'm trying to limit the amount of all-purpose glue that's moving around underneath my card, because if it does splurge onto my mirror card, it can take the shine off. And what it also should do, although lately has not been, which could be, well, you would think it would work faster with the weather being a little warmer, but it should glue that down a little faster. So the all-purpose glue does have a longer sort of drying time, so you do have a bit more time to sort of wiggle that into place or move it around. And you can see I just accidentally pressed on that a little bit and it went flying. So that is the benefit of this glue, is that we've got that wiggle room time. But the downside of it is, if I'm moving on to another piece of my card, I don't want to worry about that moving when I'm moving on, if you know what I mean. So I don't want to sort of come in with this piece, get it right down in the right place, and then see that I've knocked that out in the meantime, and then, you know, have to move that into place, and then this one might move. You know, it can be a bit of a seesaw. So in my environment here, I find that generally, and that's sort of 95% of the time, if I use the tacky glue in the corners, or if it's paper, I will use the tape pen. That usually holds it in place a little bit faster while the other glue goes off. So you can see that looks quite nice as it is. I'm quite happy with that already. We're just going to go around and put this gold mirror mat on. Pop that down. And obviously, if you don't like the gold, you could always go in with the adorable scorable from the kit if you've got the big kit. Or you could miss this gold layer out altogether. I always think that the gold layer makes your cards look a little bit more expensive, but that's just that's just me, just what I like. You might not like that look. You might like a sort of more what's the word, sort of, there's quite a big differential between that white and the blue, whereas with the gold you sort of ease up to it, so you might like that more vibrant difference between them, if you know what I mean. So these are the 6x2 1mm foam pads. So I still want this to go in a normal envelope, and I don't want the postage to be heaps and heaps and heaps. So I'm just going to pop a load of these on, and you will see I do put loads on, and I probably don't need to put quite as many as these, but if there was a support club for over a DZ, I would go, because I do put a lot on, especially when I'm making cards on here, because I do know, I can't say just when I'm doing it, because I do in general put a lot on. I used to use the Kalau 3D glue gel, because I personally didn't like the smell of the Pinflow one. I think it smelled a little bit too silicone for me, whereas the Pinflow has a sort of it kind of smells a bit like hand gel, you know, like the germ killing ones. So I kind of like that smell, but the thing with the 3D glue gel is you can't, it's all right to use on a card, because obviously it doesn't matter if your card has that sort of hand gel smell, but if you use it to make a box, let's say you've made a box with your normal tacky glue, and then you've put your layers on it with that 3D glue gel, if you then put chocolates in that box, that smell will go into those chocolates, or any kind of food stuff. So that's something just to think about if you're going, you know, when you're going to be using that 3D glue gel. It's not a bad thing, you know, because obviously sometimes you make a box for a scarf or things like that, but if it is a food thing, then you might want to just try hot glue gun instead. Okay, so we've got, for the sentiments, we've got sending warm wishes, we're feeling festive, a gift for someone special, and meowy Christmas. Meowy Christmas is more this cat. We've got wishing you a perfect Christmas. I wonder if that would go, should fit. And we did say we were going to do a border, didn't we? But no, I think that doesn't, that's too much. Let me snip this out, because I think this would go better. And I am going to keep this, because that would make quite a nice border as well with the little paw prints on. We may need that when we come to our other cards. Maybe the blue one would look better. See, this is the thing, you think one thing and then think another. I'm beginning to sound like that dinosaur on the Argus ad for Coronation Street. Yeah, definitely the blue. So if we're going with that, we'll go with green tag, because that will be on the blue. And then I'm going to use those little paw print buttons on there as well. And I think that will be it for this card. Maybe some gems. Let's move those out of the way. I'm just going to grab my little guillotine, because that's quite good for these little bits. So what I'm going to do is just straighten that edge off, and then I'm going to turn that round and cut that to 5 3/4, and that should fit quite nicely all the way along there. If you didn't want to use the border, you could put some gems along there, anything like that. So do I want to go flat with that border, or do we want to raise it up? We'll raise it just a little bit. So I am going to have to cut some of these, and I'll cut them into go a little further because this is just a skinny little piece. I am going to be ordering some more of these. I think I have used nearly the whole lot up. Just on the last bits of them now, which I think is going to last me this month, because I think there was 4,000. But I am going to be ordering, actually they're from a different place and they come on a roll of 5,000 and they are slightly cheaper. The actual roll is cheaper, but the postage and packing is dearer. I think the postage and packing was like £7. I can't remember what the name of the company is. But I thought if I get a couple of different rolls, sort of, they'll last me. I want them to last me about 3-4 months, really, ideally. My sister's, when she came today, she said she's going down to Harrogate on the 28th. So I need to contact the charity and see if I can get them delivered somewhere. If they're not open on the Sunday, what I might be able to do is get Anthony's ex-girlfriend, Sophie, to pop them in on a weekday maybe, or maybe her mum. So either way, the house is going to be a bit more emptier as of the 28th. There's 3 boxes of everyday and 1 box of Christmas so far. And what I thought I might do is take all the mum, dad, sister, brother, auntie, uncle sentiments out of the little pad. So I'm just basically going to keep the happy birthday ones and send that up with them, so that and some foam pads, and then if somebody wants to add some details and personalise them, they're going to be able to themselves. Because, you know, we used to, when I used to do the stall, you know, every now and then I used to do a stall, you get people say, oh, I like that one, but it's for me granddad, oh, it's for me, and you know, I didn't have the books then. So I'm just going to add a couple of little gems in here. So I thought if I send them up, because I'm not going to put their sentiments on them, because I think it sort of rules people out, you know, sort of, oh, that's lovely, but it's for a granddad and I wanted it for my uncle, you know, that sort of thing. So but I thought if I send them up, they'll be able to put them on themselves, and it's going to be a bit of a selling point for them as well. I'm hoping there's going to be about 400 going up, at least, if not more, because there was some here from before. In actual fact, I think all of last year's Christmas ones are still here. So if they want the Christmas ones, they will go up. Right, okay, so I'm going to leave that at that. You could come in, add some little glitter or some spatter. If you've got like an acrylic pen, you would be able to spatter onto that if you left it to dry. Inside I would put an insert which is 5x6, and that's what will go in there. But that is card number 1, and that's our little, just the little centre, well actually it's just a side step, because we've got the 1 step on there. That's card number 1, and I'm going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, I'm going to bring in another piece of that 12x6 300 GSM white card, and bring in my scoreboard, and I don't want it in centimetres, let's turn it over, and I'm going to score at 4 inches, and then I'm going to turn that around and do 2 and 4, just because I've got the smaller board. So I'm going to make myself just a card with a front step. So let's pop that out of the way. We can burnish these folds down properly. Yeah, there you are. So just making sure they line up nicely before I do it this time. Okay, burnish down. Same with this one. And then if I pop underneath and burnish that one down, make that all nice and crisp. And then what you've got is a card that folds like that. Okay, so nice and easy. The insert for this one is going to be a mat for 4x6. And when I finished, it's still going to go in a 6x6 because I'm going to have my image coming over the top. And this is really good card for square toppers that are quite large, or the longer ones, either arch or the sort of let me see if I got, yeah, that shape ones coming over the top of it. It can look really nice. Okay, so let me just pop those back. Hopefully they're not going to fall down. Right, so let's come in with the cutting trimmer. And the first mat I'm going to do is for this back, which is 4x6. So I'm just going to take 2 notches off the 4 and the 6. And I always get annoyed with myself because I do the 4-inch one first when it would be far easier to do the 2-inch. That should fit quite nicely onto there like so. And then this one is for this front step, which is 2x6. So I'm just going to take 2 notches off the 2. It's not too hard, but it just would be great if I could get into the habit of doing the smaller pieces first. My brain just won't have any of it. Okay, and then that one is going to go straight onto there like so. Okay, so then I'm going to bring this one in, and this I want on that front step, so we'll cut that first. And let's see, I'm going to be cutting some of that off, so let me just take a couple more notches of that green off. Again, you can always keep that as a border. I just didn't want to cut into the top of the holly. So because I'm taking it down another 2 notches, it's 1 3/4. And that's going to be by 5 3/4. And that will fit onto our front step like so. If you wanted to cut around that like I did with the first card, you certainly can do. It wouldn't be a problem. It would take that very well. And then 3 3/4 for this one by 5 3/4. And this would be, because it's quite a plain cardstock, would be perfect to emboss with, either with an embossing folder, a stencil, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's pop these bits together. Am I going to put ribbon on? We could do, couldn't we? So let me just grab a little bit of red ribbon. There we go. Yeah, that would be perfect. Or we could try it with some green. I have got this new green, which is this colour, which is kind of like a holly green. Oh, I like that better. Let's go with that one. So I'll put that to the side for another time. There we go. So what I'll do then in that case, because I'm going to be using some ribbon on the front, we'll glue this to its back first of all. And pop that on. That's looking nice. I'll put them to this side. And then what I'll do is I'll put these on, and then they'll have a little bit of time to dry while I'm doing the ribbon and attaching that before I try to put the topper on. So I'm just going to slip that down the inside. Just making sure all my borders are equal. There we go. And then slip them going on. There we go. So that is that piece there. Like I say, if you wanted to emboss that, maybe with some snowflakes, I've got this really cute little star embossing folder that I found. It's a Lee Abilities one. That would look nice. Little stars, snowflakes. I've got a beautiful Spellbinders one, which I got in that sale, the Holly Flourish. And I used that on one of the cow cards I did recently with the leftover bits, so it is a really gorgeous embossing folder. Oh, there goes hens. The neighbours have been in and out again next door. It's always the same ones, you never hear the Shirley and her lot, it's always the other side. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that black dotted line as my guide and pop that one over. And again on that side. And then what I usually do with ribbons is just give those a little bit of a trim. Come underneath with the PVA glue and put some on top, and what that does is it just seals that to the card for me, stops it fraying. There's no way that will fray. Just move that glue around a little bit because I don't want it to make my card soggy. There we go. And then this can go onto our front piece like so. There we go. So that's the card as it is in its undecorated state. So looking pretty smart even as it is. We need to make that a little bit more in your face. Now I'm tempted to use this big one. We'll have a look. I might swap it out for the smaller one. I might not use all the frames, we'll see. It's really big, it's just over 5 inches I believe with the frame, so it means it would be, if you were going to put it on a 6x6 card, it would be all of the card. So let's just drop this down to that would be quite nice. Maybe pop that green one out. I love this green frame. I think it's really smart. So maybe I will be able to use that with the little book. Is there a right or a wrong way? Not really. So pop that down. And what I'm doing is I'm just using the 6-inch guide on my mat just to give me a little bit of an idea of where I want this cat to be. And then we can have a little bit of air between her and him. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me just put that back. We'll move the cat out of the way a second. If you haven't got a markings on your mat like this, what you could do, if you've got another 6x6 card or a piece of 6x6 card that you've chopped into, and you've got a 6x6 piece left over, you can use that as your guideline instead. Okay, so what I want to do is just, do I want this raised or do I want it flat? I think I want it raised. So this does mean, chop that off. I'm going to need some more of these. And if I just pop one there, not very straight. And one there, then I know not to go above that, because obviously we don't want any foam pads to be seen on the other side. Shush hens, there's a good boy. He's been in his cage all day, bless him. Not that he minds, because he's just like, he's got his own pillow in there and he sort of lies flat out on it. Somebody was asking what type of dog Henry is. He's a terrier of mixed descent. At one time I was going to get him, you can send their DNA off, can't you, to find out where they are. I suspect he's got a bit of Scotty in him. He seems to have that sort of shaped head, got quite a big head, big teeth, and definitely his prey drive is quite strong. But he's sandy coloured, so sort of border terrier-ish. Maybe a bit of Yorkie in there. Probably all the stubborn terriers that there are, he will have in him. Yeah, I'll have to, when I've given him, he needs to have a haircut again now for the summer. Not that he's very happy about haircuts, because his little knees shake. I've got a little grooming table, because obviously I had to trim Poppy and Pippin, because Poppy was like part poodle, so she used to get quite naughty if he didn't groom her, and she got quite scared of the groomer at one point, so I just used to just shave her down, and so I've got a table just to make it easier for them too, and then obviously he came along, but you put him on the table and his little knees start knocking. Bless. Not that I've ever hurt him. He has a little what they call a hidey hood, which blocks the sound out, and he's quite good. Well, to be fair, some days he's better than others. I'm just going to pop this back in where we want this to be. This has been awkward. Let's pop that down. That's going to make that easier. Move you out of the way because you're confusing me. There we go. So I'm going to go right there, and I'm a bit more on this side than the other, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. And if I just bring in a little piece of tissue, just going to wipe that little bit of glue away. It will dry clear, but if I dry it while it's wet, you can't see it at all. Okay, so that is part one. Make sure that's standing up, and then this one we can use the big pads on. I don't want to put it on there because I can see there is a bit of glue. And we think we need to be back there and below. So what I'm gonna, yeah, so once he's had a little groom, I'll put a picture up on my Facebook page. I'll introduce you. If I can find one for George as well. George, my sister just took a nice photo of him with his little grey. He's a little grey old man, is George. So he definitely knows his own mind, George. George is a Jack Russell Moor mix. So he's same sandy coloured as Henry, but he's very short fur. He's got long, quite long legs, tiny, tiny weeny head. My friend used to say he looks like a Parsons Jack Russell, but I couldn't tell you if that's correct also. George is George. George very much has his own agenda these days, and does as he pleases, goes where he wants. He gets quite cross if he doesn't get the walk he wants. And sometimes he wants, like it's raining today and he wanted to go all over the lake, and he gets quite cross because that bridge is shut down, so we've got nothing showing on the other side, and that's where we're at. And I'm just gonna, we're just doing over a little tad, so because I put that pad on, let's just lift that up. So because I've put that PVA glue on the pads, I can just lift that up a tad and pop that over without any ripping, tearing, that sort of thing. Okay, so now we have a tag which we can have send in warm wishes. I'm not going to use Merry Christmas. We'll go with send in warm wishes. I don't know if I'm going to use that one. It's a gift for someone special, which a card really isn't a gift, is it? It's a card. Okay. What we could do is add, we could pop that on there. I'm going to put that coming up, so it's going to join that in on your eye. Let's go with, oh, let's use some Hunkydory ones because the other ones are far away. So these again are 1mm pads. Just give that a little squish of the pips. A little bit of the glue on the back, so you saw how I was able to just peel that up a little. I'll pop that there. And then we just want some gems. I don't think I'm going to put a bow on there, I'm just going to leave that as it is. Let's go with some gold ones, nice and shiny. And where do we want to pop them? I think we'll come over here. It's blowing bubbles a little bit for some reason. I don't know why. I did give it a little refill today. And then we'll go with this smaller one. Turn over. There we go. Now, other ways you could change this up. You could add some of that snowfall acetate over the top or behind here. Just be aware if you do that, just make sure that it's not glued anywhere where you're going to see it. So obviously do put your red liner tape or whatever on this bit that's going to be hidden to work that all out beforehand. Again, like I said, embossing that piece of cardstock behind, you'd be surprised how much a bit of an embossing really does add something a bit special to a card. But that is card number 2, and like I say, that's just a simple stepper and it will stand upright. It still needs to go in a 6x6 envelope, but it will take a 4x6 insert. So let's bring back in card number 1. So those are the cards that I've done for you today. So that, like I say, that's the end for me crafting on video for Cute Christmas. I will still work through the rest of it. Obviously I'll make up the cards with these bits left over, those 2 bits of card first, because I'm trying not to have bits hanging around now. And then I've got one kit left with White Christmas, which is, this is the last one, which is the Christmas Magic. So that's the only one I've got left to craft with in that kit. And then they will be, all of the cards will be up on Pinterest. What I might also do is on my Facebook page do an album for Christmas Blockbuster and put all of the cards from that White Magic in there. Maybe do like subsections if I can, so that if you want to look at any cards from that kit, you'll see an example for everyone. But that's it for today. Sorry I'm waffling on. I'm not sure if this video is going to go up today. It might be slightly late because we're getting on near 10 o'clock now. So it might be too late by the time it's edited and things. It might go up tomorrow, so apologies. But I will be back hopefully as normal on Thursday. But until then, take care of yourselves. Happy crafting. Bye bye.